What's happening, guys? I'm Dan. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving back into, you guessed it, more Michigan craft beer distributed from M4 Distribution in Michigan. This is Ascension Brewing Company out of Novi, Michigan, one of my favorite breweries in the entire state and the country as a whole. Guys, it's one of the best breweries I ever went to early in the hazy game. I think I actually consumed this beer in 2018 and or 2019. It was like literally one of the first New England style IPAs that I just was madly in love with. I feel like I liked a lot of their beer list, but I remember seeing this that day twice, really, and it was a really enjoyable beer. But the thing is, I don't know what the hop varietals are these days. I think they rotate them. I've never seen it in distribution, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know the answer to that, but I've never seen it in distribution. It seems like they're getting a little bit more consistent with what they're putting into the market. Seems like they're getting a little bit better with pricing too. This is like $15 or $16 for a 4-pack. Really reasonable for a 7% New England style IPA, guys. So TiHKAL, New England IPA, Ascension Brewing. This is a canned on date, which I've never seen them do either. So they're really working on their game for distribution. 7/18/24, and today, unfortunately, is the last day of July, so 7/31 time of recording. So this is super duper fresh Ascension beer, and I had to dig through my counter and calendar. Wow, I had to dig through my cabinet quite a bit because I knew I had a big ass Ascension glass. Found it. I'm going to be using that proper glassware today. And guys, again, super fresh, and shout out to M4 because we wouldn't get Ascension beer in distribution without them. So let's go to the pour and let's see what TiHKAL is about. TiHKAL, I don't know which one it is. But it just seems like Ascension keeps getting better with time. Again, it was one of my favorite breweries in like 2018, 2019. Still is. I just visited them this year too. So they've gotten better. They've refined their products. It's getting a little bit more consistent. I think it's even just getting better. They're just becoming better at brewing their beers. It's just better technique, everything. So it's not the haziest beer I've seen from Ascension. They do crazy stouts, crazy sours, crazy New England style dippas, whatever. But this was a little bit thinner on the pour. For them, but it's still hazy. I'm in the shade right now. I have great lighting over here. I wish you guys could see that. I will get a good picture proper, post it to Instagram. Pour Michigan beer, follow it. Okay, let's get to the aroma. This looks good. Not as creamy as some of the others. Wowzers. It's just, it reminds me of the early days of just really loving the hazy game. I mean, it just pops with crazy aromatics, the citrus, the hop oils, the fresh hoppy pine cones. It's all in there. Like, it's so fresh, it's so bright and just vicious on the nose. Like, it's just a nice combination of grapefruit, navel orange, even like a blood orange, just juice bomb. It's the skin and the pith of the fruit as well, so there's a little bit of that like florally zesty grapefruit skin, and there's a little bit of the orange peel, orange pith. Along with that, it does come with a little bit of that floral, slightly maltier white bread, and that dough just kind of like that wheat-like quality. It's really nice and thick on the nose. It's an interesting thing, but again, it reminds me of the old days where I was just like, this smells like frickin' OJ. Obviously, it isn't just pure OJ. Like, yes, it has that quality, that juiciness, but it does have those different varietals of fruits. You know, it does have a citrus dominance going on here, but it does smell kind of peachy and tropical. I say that a lot with these New England styles. Really, the citrus is heavy here. I'm still sticking with like that zesty grapefruit and just a navel orange juice fruit bomb. But again, it's still the skin, the pith, and the flesh of the fruit kind of combined together into one. Still smells like it might be kind of bitter and dry on the back end. It just smells luscious. It's a luscious New England style, guys. Let's go to it. Cheers. Cheers, Ascension. Cheers, M4. Let's get it. Wonderful. Yeah, so it's still dry on the back end. There's not a ton of bitterness, but for some reason it finishes really dry without being super bitter and overloaded with hops. I think it really adds to the drinkability. Yes, it does get reeled back with some bitterness, but it is that kind of dry floral, zesty kind of tropical back note. that drops into your palate. But again, I think the citrus is the most dominant thing on the palate. It's just a culmination of flavors. It's a lot of citrus, predominantly. It's such an even kilter beer. I say that a lot, but this hazy, for being as compacted with hops as it is, at least 1 or 2 varieties, I don't know what's in it. Maybe it's just 1, maybe it's 2 or 3. It seems too balanced to have like 3 hops in there. It just seems like it's very even across the palate all the way from the front to the back. So I don't know what's in it, but again, I'm getting like a zesty kind of grapefruit floral. I'm getting a little bit of orange pith, and I'm also getting orange juice in the equation. It tastes a bit tropical and stone fruity in the same token. Again, just generic on the back end, but you're just reeled in with a lot of dryness. So there's this like kind of earthy, zesty dryness on the back end with a little bit of that honey hop cone just kind of dominating the palate on the back end. Again, not the most bitter New England style, but really tamed and well balanced and dry on the back end, making it an absolute crusher for 7%. So a dominating recipe here for drinkability. Really good, and Ascension is just doing this lately. I feel like they're refining everything. They're making it better. You know, it's not an absolute juice bomb, but I love to see the balance. It's still an IPA. It's still kind of hoppy, yet still refreshing and drinkable at 7%. It's got all those things. A little bit of kiwi. A little bit of kiwi fruit. And there's just like, there's a touch of something else too, like almost like apricots. But I'm telling you, that citrus is the most dominant thing. And I just like this even kilter kind of honey wheat mouthfeel, little doughy bread in the mouthfeel. Really good, thick but not too thick. And again, sweetness in the front, but definitely not a sweet beer on the back end. This is a great balanced 7%, right? I love 7% beers, IPA wise, and especially hazies. That's like exactly the sweet spot. I love them. A little bit of chew to it, you know, and it's getting hoppier and a little bit more green and slightly dank herbaceous as I drink it too. So there is a little bit of that going on, grassy herbaceous, kind of like a little bit of like basil and chive in here, just a slight little bit, while still giving all the credit to the citrus and the fruitiness of the beer as well. So it's not too direct in one place. It's just really well even balanced on the palate. So do I like this beer? Absolutely. I loved it back in the day. I think I rated it like a 4, I guess, you know, and that's weird because back in the day I feel like I was given like 4 5s all the time. Like Boss Tweed was almost like a 5, M43 was almost a 5. But I think this was a 4 for me, and I mean, I still stand by that. I think it's even a little bit better, just because I appreciate the drinkability, a little bit of that bitterness to reel it all in. It's a great beer. It actually comes across a touch watery at times, but again, I like that drinkability. There's like this dank, grapey, fruity kind of thing in there too. There's a lot of different things I'm getting as I drink it. Starting to open up a little bit. Yeah. Even the bitterness kind of weighing down a little bit. I'm going to go with a 4.15 out of 5. I feel like I could go 4.2, but I think it needs to have a little bit more grit and a little bit more complexity to it at the end of the day. So 4.15 in 2024. Great beer. Ascension, it's TiHKAL. And again, guys, if you're going to decide to pour a beer, pour Michigan beer.